Ever young and radiant, the beautiful goddess was born upon the Isle of Delos alongside her brother, the golden-haired Apollo. They are twins, bound by the sincerest love and the closest of friendships. Deeply, too, do they revere their mother, Leto. Artemis is the bringer of life. She watches over all that dwells upon the earth and grows within the forest and the field. She cares for the wild beasts, the domestic herds, and the race of men alike. It is she who bids the grass to spring, the flowers to bloom, and the trees to flourish. She bestows her blessing upon births and the sanctity of marriage. To the glorious daughter of Zeus, Greek women offer rich sacrifices, honoring her as the one who grants happiness in wedlock, yet who also possesses the power to both heal and strike down with disease. Ever youthful and fair as a cloudless day, Artemis, with bow and quiver slung across her shoulders and a hunter's spear in hand, hunts joyously through shaded groves and sun-drenched meadows. A clamorous throng of nymphs follows in her wake, while she, majestic in her short hunting tunic that reaches only to her knees, fleets swiftly across the forested mountain slopes. No creature can escape her unerring shafts, neither the skittish deer, nor the timid hind, nor the enraged boar lurking within the reed beds.
When the goddess tires of the chase, she hastens with her nymphs to sacred Delphi, to the halls of her beloved brother, the far-striking Apollo. There she finds her rest. To the divine strains of Apollo's golden cithara, she leads the dance with the muses and the nymphs. Artemis moves at the head of the circle, slender and exquisite. She surpasses all the nymphs and muses in beauty, standing a full head taller than them all. Artemis also loves to rest within cool, vine-draped grottos, far from the prying eyes of mortals. Woe to him who disturbs her peace. Such was the doom of young Actaeon, the son of Autonomy and grandson of King Cadmus of Thebes. One day, Actaeon hunted with his companions in the forests of Cithaeron. As the sweltering midday heat arrived, the weary hunters sought rest in the deep shade, but Actaeon wandered alone, seeking the cool air of the valleys. He chanced upon the lush, flowering vale of Gargaphia, a place sacred to the goddess. There, planes, myrtles, and firs grew in abundance. Slender cypresses rose like dark arrows, and the green grass sparkled with wildflowers. A crystal stream murmured through the valley, where silence and cool repose reigned supreme.
In the steep flank of a mountain, Actaeon beheld a charming grotto, wreathed in greenery. He approached, unaware that this was the sanctuary of the daughter of Zeus. As he reached the entrance, Artemis had just stepped within. She had handed her bow to a nymph and was preparing for her bath. As the nymphs removed her sandals and bound her hair, Actaeon appeared in the archway. The nymphs shrieked in terror and crowded around Artemis, seeking to shield her from mortal sight. Just as the rising sun paints the clouds with purple fire, so did the goddess's face flush with the crimson of rage. Her eyes flashed with anger, making her beauty even more formidable. Enraged that a mortal had violated her seclusion, Artemis transformed the wretched Actaeon into a stag. Branching antlers sprouted from his brow, his hands and feet became hooves. His neck lengthened, his ears grew pointed, and a dappled hide covered his body. The once brave hunter fled in terror. Seeing his reflection in a stream, he tried to cry out, "Oh, woe is me!" But the gift of speech was gone. Tears rolled from his eyes, the eyes of a stag, though his human mind remained intact.
His own hounds caught the scent. Unaware of their master, they pursued him with savage baying. Over valleys and through the gorges of Cithaeron he fled like the wind, but the pack gained ground. Their sharp teeth sank into his flesh. Actaeon cried out in his heart, "Spare me! It is I, Actaeon, your master!" But only a low moan escaped his breast, a sound hauntingly like a human groan. He fell to his knees, his eyes filled with horror and supplication. His companions arrived and lamented that Actaeon was not there to witness such a fortunate catch. Thus perished Actaeon, the only mortal to have gazed upon the celestial beauty of the daughter of Zeus and Leto. From the head of Zeus himself was the goddess Pallas Athena born. The Thunderer knew that Metis, the goddess of wisdom, was destined to bear 2 children, a daughter, Athena, and a son of extraordinary intellect and strength. The Moirai, the Fates, had revealed a secret to Zeus, that a son born of Metis would one day overthrow him. To escape this doom, Zeus deceived Metis with fair words and swallowed her before their daughter could be born. In time, Zeus was seized by a terrible pain in his head. He summoned his son Hephaestus and commanded him to cleave his skull to release the unbearable pressure. With a mighty stroke of his axe, Hephaestus split the skull of Zeus, and forth into the light sprang the warrior goddess Pallas Athena. She stood before the astonished Olympians in full armor, wearing a gleaming helmet and wielding a spear and shield. She shook her glittering spear with a fearsome cry that echoed through the heavens and shook the very foundations of Olympus. Majestic and beautiful she stood. Her gray eyes burned with divine wisdom, and her entire being radiated a powerful celestial grace. The gods sang praises to this favorite daughter of Zeus, the protector of cities, the goddess of wisdom, and the invincible warrior. Athena patronizes the heroes of Greece, offering them her sage counsel and shielding them in times of peril. She guards the fortresses and the walls of men, bestowing knowledge and teaching the arts and crafts. The maidens of Greece revere her for teaching them the art of the loom, for no mortal or goddess can surpass Athena in the skill of weaving. All know the peril of competing with her, a lesson learned by Arachne, who dared to challenge the goddess and paid a bitter price for her vanity.